Hi, you've just went into jeffandrus.com. I'm Jeff Andrus. Not a good month. My dad died on Monday, the 4th of October. He was 90 years old. When someone's 90, they're going to die at some point. So it's kind of, in a way, it's expected, but when it happens, it's very unexpected. He was born in 1920, May the 10th, in Spanish Fork, Utah. And in 1931, he moved with his parents to King City, California, which was where I was born. He finished up elementary school in the same grammar school that my older brother and myself, my younger brother and my sister all attended. Went to the same high school. He skipped a grade, unlike the rest of us, and he graduated at the age of 16, and he was the senior class president of the class of 1937. He went to Hartnell Junior College. I went there too. He entered Stanford University, and three of us also followed in his footsteps there. While he was at Stanford, the war broke out, and so he enrolled in the National Emergency Program for fast-track training of doctors. And so he never graduated. What he did was he went on to George Washington University Medical School in Washington, D.C., and completed his medical education there. He did his internship at L.A. County Hospital. Now it's associated with USC, and residency at Kern County Hospital, Bakersfield. That's where my older brother was born. He moved back to King City, and he went into practice with his dad for a while, but he wasn't really satisfied with that, and so he moved us all. But now there were two of us. Me would be the second one. He moved us to Boston, Massachusetts, where he began postgraduate work to become board certified in internal medicine. And it was while he was there that his national service caught up with him. He was drafted. He was drafted into the United States Public Health Service, and he served aboard a Coast Guard cutter. I remember when he shipped out to patrol the waters around Greenland. It was Christmas Eve, and that was the first time we ever had opened our presents on Christmas Eve. Now, I did it once before as an adult with my children, and they hated it, and I understand why. Because, Christmas Day comes, and what are you going to do? Especially if you're a non-religious family, all you got is the toys. On Christmas Eve, we had a Lionel train set that he had given us. And then he was gone, and he was gone for a long time. I was in second grade. My teacher was Miss Opera when he came to visit the school. I can't remember what the reason was for. It may have been just a general parent check. It could have been I was in trouble. Who knew? And I was sitting in the back. I'm very nearsighted, and of course, but I was tall. So they'd always put us tall people in the back of the class. I could barely see the blackboard, but I was in the back. There was my dad up there in his uniform as a lieutenant commander, and this little girl next to me, she's wide-eyed, and when my dad leaves, she whispers to me, "Your dad is the handsomest man I've ever seen." Well, okay. To me, he was good looking, but I wouldn't have qualified it that way. In fact, being a member, a son in a family is a lot different than being a colleague. And he had made quite a name for himself in medicine. He returned to King City. He eventually, because of his lecturing and his writing of scientific papers, was asked to be the physician consultant at the University of Utah for their ambulatory care unit, and that was just sort of like interim before he took a post at the University of California as a full professor at the UC Davis Medical School, where he founded the Department of Family Practice and was its first chairman. And he started, clinics for the rural poor in Northern California. He did so in his hometown. Anyway, people know him from all of that, and I just know him as a dad, and it's which is an interesting way to know someone, because on Monday when I found out he died, I was choked up and crying, And then on Tuesday, I was just really angry. And I'm sure I'll go through a lot of other emotions as well. Basically, the anger is for regret. I mean, what should have, could have, must have been if we were at all a normal family. And you know, you can't bring that back. And it wasn't his fault any more than it was my fault or anybody else in the family. Um, the blame lies equally. So I regret some of the things I didn't say and some of the things I did do. I appreciate my dad for being. I said he wasn't religious, but I'm having a mass done in his honor where I am, because now I am religious, and tough luck, Dad. You're gonna have to eat that one, and I hope it does something for his eternal soul. I don't know, but I hope it does. One of the things I appreciated about him, wherever he is he was very enthusiastic. He always said that don't say no until you've thought of all the reasons why you can say yes. I've tried to convince many a girlfriend of that, but it goes over like a lead balloon. He also had a great sense of humor. Now, he was the last in his line to die. I mean, he had a younger brother and a younger sister, and so that means that what's left is my brothers, myself, and my sister. That's kind of weird. But I was talking about his sense of humor. First of all, I want to talk about his brother's sense of humor. AG, Alma George, Uncle George, who he had a good friend, right, in high school, who, as he got older, got very depressed and took a shotgun and put it to his belly and pulled the trigger. Now, when you're studying suicide, that's 10-10 on the lethality and intent scales. And they rushed him up to the county hospital emergency room. And when my uncle found out about it, he got in his pickup and sped off after them. And he's getting there, and they've got the guy somewhat stabilized in intensive care. My uncle and the only people who can go in for a few minutes at a time are family members. That didn't stop my uncle. He pushed his way in. And then he leaned down to the man who was in a coma, and he said, "You never were a good shot." Nurses were shocked. There was stunned silence. But after a bit, the respirator began to gurgle because the man was trying to laugh. And laughter must be the best medicine, because he eventually did recover. My dad's sense of humor was more of a, I'll give you an example. If we were ever together, we would actually pull out these old routines. For example, I'd say, "Dad, how do you like your eggs?" And he'd say, "I like them fine." And I say, No, how do you like them? How do you like them cooked?" And he would say, I like them that way best. Now that's old stuff. And the older he got, it would be, "Dad, how do you like your eggs?" And he'd say, "Cooked," because his mental faculties were going. But even up until the very end, he was always a fighter. I mean, I was 50 years old, and he was 70, recovering from a heart attack, when I played my last game of golf, because he just beat the heck out of me, and I realized there was no future in it for me. Another time, when he was in these early 80s, he was skin diving, and he got a splinter off the boat, and that became a flesh-eating bacteria. And we nearly lost him, but he held on, and they had to amputate one of his calves that was infected. He did the rehabilitation. He just didn't know what quit was, but finally his body said, "Hey, it's over. We have to quit." So that's where I've been, and I'm going to a family gathering at the end of the month. I'm really looking forward to that. I had a great aunt from Spanish Fork, Utah, who was at a funeral of a relative, and she just blurted out, "I love funerals." Now, she didn't love the fact that the guy was dead. I don't love the fact that my dad is dead. But you get to see relatives and friends you haven't seen for a long time. And I hope after this time it's a long, long time before we do it again. Anyway, I'll be back. I'll be saying something fairly stupid or funny, depending on your point of view. God bless you. Thanks for stopping by.